Urbanization, the process by which rural areas transform into urban centers and cities grow in size and significance, has shaped the course of human history. From the earliest settlements to modern megacities, the story of urbanization reflects humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and organize for collective growth and survival. This essay explores the history of urbanization, tracing its origins, key phases, and factors that drove the emergence of cities. The birth of urbanization, prehistoric settlements. The roots of urbanization lie in the Neolithic Revolution, approximately 10,000 BCE, when humans transitioned from nomadic hunting and gathering to settled agricultural practices. This shift allowed populations to grow and encouraged the establishment of permanent settlements. Early examples include Jericho in the Levant, around 9000 BCE, and Çatalhöyük in Anatolia, 7000 BCE. These proto-urban communities featured rudimentary social structures, shared labor, and trade networks. While these early settlements were small and lacked many characteristics of later cities, they marked a turning point in human history. Agriculture produced food surpluses, freeing some members of society to pursue non-agricultural activities like crafting, trade, and governance. These activities laid the groundwork for more complex urban societies. The rise of cities, the first urban centers. The first true cities emerged in the ancient river valley civilizations, where abundant resources and fertile lands supported large populations. Between 4000 and 2000 BCE, cities appeared in Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China. These urban centers shared several defining features. 1. Centralized authority. Cities like Uruk in Mesopotamia were often governed by centralized rulers or priestly classes who organized resources, maintained order, and oversaw religious institutions. Number 2. Specialization of labor. Urban economies relied on specialized professions, such as scribes, artisans, and merchants, enabling societies to develop more advanced technologies and cultures. Trade networks. Cities became hubs for regional and long-distance trade, exchanging goods like textiles, metals, and food. 4. Monumental architecture. Structures like ziggurats in Mesopotamia, pyramids in Egypt, and Mohenjo-Daro's Great Bath reflected the city's wealth and religious importance. Urban centers in Mesopotamia, such as Babylon and Ur, became models of early city planning and governance. These cities often featured walls for protection, organized streets, and irrigation systems to sustain agriculture. The Code of Hammurabi, developed in Babylon, exemplifies the role of cities as centers of law and order. Urbanization in the Classical Period. The Classical period, circa 1000 BCE to 500 CE, saw urbanization flourish across Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The Greek city-states, Roman Empire, and Chinese dynasties all contributed to the evolution of cities as cultural, economic, and political centers. 1. Greek city-states, polis. Greek cities like Athens and Sparta represented a new urban model, emphasizing citizenship, public spaces, and cultural life. The agora, marketplace, and acropolis, religious center, were central to city life, symbolizing the integration of economic, political, and spiritual activities. Athens, in particular, became a hub of philosophy, arts, and democracy. Number 2. Roman urbanization. The Roman Empire expanded urbanization on an unprecedented scale, connecting its vast territories through cities like Rome, Pompeii, and Carthage. Roman cities were characterized by advanced infrastructure, including aqueducts, roads, and public baths. The Roman Forum served as a political and commercial center, while amphitheaters and temples showcased the empire's cultural achievements. 3. Urbanization in Asia. In China, cities like Xi'an, formerly Chang'an, thrived as administrative and trade centers during the Han and Tang dynasties. Urbanization was closely tied to the Silk Road, which facilitated cultural and economic exchanges. Similarly, in India, cities like Pataliputra emerged as centers of governance and Buddhism during the Mauryan and Gupta empires. Number 4. Urban centers in the Americas. The Americas also saw the rise of sophisticated urban centers, such as Teotihuacan in Mesoamerica and Cusco in the Andes. These cities featured monumental architecture, religious significance, and complex social hierarchies, reflecting the broader trends of urbanization worldwide. Medieval urbanization and the role of religion. The collapse of the Roman Empire in the 5th century CE led to a decline in urbanization in Europe, as many cities were abandoned or diminished in importance. However, the medieval period, circa 500 to 1500 CE, also witnessed the resurgence and transformation of urban life. 1. Islamic urbanization. The Islamic Golden Age, 8th to 13th centuries, saw the rise of vibrant cities across the Middle East, North Africa, and Spain. Cities like Baghdad, Cordoba, and Cairo became centers of learning, trade, and cultural exchange. The Islamic emphasis on commerce and scholarship fostered urban growth, with mosques, bazaars, and libraries serving as focal points of city life. 2. European revival. By the 12th century, European cities began to recover and expand, driven by trade, feudalism, and the growth of religious institutions. Cities like Venice, Paris, and London emerged as centers of commerce and governance. The construction of cathedrals, universities, and guild halls reflected the intertwined roles of religion, education, and trade in medieval urban life. 3. Asian urbanization. In East Asia, cities like Hangzhou and Kyoto flourished as centers of trade, governance, and culture. The Song dynasty in China, 916 to 1279 CE, saw an urban boom, with cities benefiting from innovations like paper money, printing, and advanced agriculture. The early modern period, urban expansion and colonialism. The early modern period, 1500 to 1800 CE, was marked by significant changes in urbanization, driven by exploration, trade, and the rise of nation-states. 1. Renaissance and urban growth in Europe. The Renaissance, 14th to 17th centuries, revitalized European cities, emphasizing art, architecture, and commerce. Cities like Florence, Venice, and Amsterdam became hubs of cultural and economic innovation. Urban planning also advanced, with designs focusing on symmetry, public spaces, and fortifications. Number 2. Colonial cities. European colonialism led to the establishment of new cities in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Cities like Mexico City, Mumbai, and Cape Town were founded as administrative and trade centers, often displacing indigenous populations. These colonial cities became nodes in global trade networks, connecting continents through the exchange of goods, people, and ideas. Number 3. Asian and Islamic cities. Urbanization continued in Asia and the Islamic world, with cities like Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, and Agra thriving as political and cultural capitals. The Mughal Empire, for instance, developed grand cities with iconic architecture such as the Taj Mahal in Agra. Industrialization and urbanization. The Industrial Revolution, 18th and 19th centuries, transformed urbanization, ushering in a new era of rapid city growth and industrial development. 1. Industrial cities. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham, and Chicago grew rapidly as centers of industry and manufacturing. The shift from agrarian economies to industrial ones drew millions of people to urban areas in search of work. Factories, railroads, and port facilities became defining features of industrial cities. 2. Urban challenges. The rapid growth of industrial cities brought challenges, including overcrowding, poor sanitation, and labor exploitation. Slums and tenements emerged as symbols of urban inequality. However, these challenges also spurred urban reforms, such as sanitation systems, public housing, and labor rights movements. 3. Global urbanization. Industrialization fueled urbanization worldwide, with cities in Asia, Africa, and Latin America expanding alongside European and North American counterparts. The construction of railways and canals connected rural areas to urban centers, accelerating migration and economic integration. The 20th and 21st centuries. The Urban Age. The 20th century marked the Urban Age, with the majority of the global population living in cities by the early 21st century. 1. Modernization and urban planning. Advances in transportation, communication, and technology reshaped cities, enabling skyscrapers, subways, and highways. Urban planning emphasized functionality and growth, as seen in cities like New York, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo. 2. Post-war urbanization. After World War II, urbanization accelerated in the developing world, driven by population growth, industrialization, and globalization. Megacities like Mumbai, Shanghai, and Lagos emerged as economic and cultural powerhouses. 3. Challenges of modern urbanization. Rapid urbanization has brought challenges such as pollution, traffic congestion, and housing shortages. Climate change poses additional risks to urban areas, especially coastal cities vulnerable to rising sea levels. 4. Smart cities and sustainable urbanization. In the 21st century, urbanization has focused on sustainability and innovation. Smart cities like Singapore and Barcelona leverage technology to improve efficiency and quality of life. Green architecture, renewable energy, and public transportation are key components of sustainable urban development. The history of urbanization reflects humanity's journey from small agricultural settlements to complex, interconnected cities. Urbanization has been driven by innovation, trade, and governance, but it has also brought challenges such as inequality and environmental impact. As cities continue to grow, the future of urbanization will depend on finding sustainable and inclusive solutions that balance development with the needs of people and the planet.